Being toxic, una tóxica, is so last year.
Ella viene por ahí y nunca llega sola. Ella nunca llega sola.
I mean, like for real, don't bring those vibes into 2026. At least not near me. Alright, honey? Last year, some people may have had access, or I don't know, you had certain people around, but this year, you gonna need an application to get around your aura. They gonna need an application to get near you. Period. It's about having boundaries this year. It's about having standards. It's about protecting your energy. No weird vibes. No toxicness. It's getting justice for yourself, okay? For everything that you've been through. Because you should be proud of yourself with everything that you've been through and how much you've grown. And the glow up, honey, let's talk about that. Because you are glowing. And it's all because of what you've learned in last year or whatever time you're watching this, what you have learned so far. But your past is your past. And now you're blossoming. You're blooming like a flower. Like I could just see it right now. And there's a light shining through. But I feel like, we have to bring in that light because as light workers, as people who are trying to achieve that enlightenment, that happiness, people who are trying to achieve that glow. We like protect your energy and just live your life in a way that you're going to enjoy it. Why not? And honestly, just focus all that love and attention on yourself and turning yourself into this big ball of light and joy in the world. Be the light of my world. You guys are going to be the light of my world. Just because you're watching this. But seriously, like I feel like last year taught me some things that, I didn't even know that I was gonna learn or go through. I didn't know what to expect of 2025. And now that it's 2026, I still don't know what to expect. But this year, I feel like we're going in with a plan, all right? Especially, if you've been watching my channel. If you haven't, if you're new here, hey, join the conversation. Get enlightened. My name is Veronica, and I'm going to talk about some of the lessons that I did learn last year and how it has helped me. There was some things that I just can't ignore that I learned from those lessons, and some things I'm carrying with me into this year and some things I'm not. And it takes a while for things to process, so don't be ashamed if it's a little bit slower or you have the whole year, honey. I just love referencing to like the light and the universe and spirit and God, because I feel like even in church, they talk so much about converting yourself into light. And if you hear the stories and you honestly, like, I wouldn't expect people to sit here and listen to me if they cannot, oh my god, how do I say this? I feel like it's easy for me to go to church and sit down and listen to all these stories and all these revelations and, teachings and lessons, and because it just kind of accelerates the process a little bit for me, and it kind of just confirms some of the lessons that I already learned. So when I'm sitting there and I'm listening, I'm just like, like, yup, like these angels, spirit, God is by my side. And this is confirmation just because, like, things just align. Like, we were talking in the car right before getting there. Like, I'm like, what is even Christianity? The difference between Christianity and Catholic, this and that. I'm still learning. But I'm like, we were talking about that. And then they started bringing it up at church. And they're like, it doesn't matter what you identify as, you know, as long as you are a citizen of the King, Jesus Christ, that's what matters. And I feel like that's such a good way to put it because, you know, the only identification that we need here, all of us as Earth, is following his path, is being a citizen of Christ. And I love the way that he put that. With God, with God by your side, you're never gonna lose. I feel like even in the bad and the good, just always being able to see God through those things is what is going to help you get through it. You get me? Because with God, you never lose. And so, with the good and the bad that I went through last year, every year there's always good and bad. A lot of people are saying 2016 is the best year, but honestly, it was a good year, but I feel like the next year after that was even better. And I feel like maybe it's kind of like a bridge. Like, I don't know, that's what I'm saying right now. It's like 2016 was a bridge to like a really good year last time. So maybe this is the start, the bridge to a new cycle, a new year, a new life, a new you. And it's because of all of the lessons that you've learned and applied to yourself. So, if you keep ignoring it, you're not going to really grow as much. You really have to evaluate the good and the bad in your life and turn that into light. But you do have to have faith to grow, and you have to have. I'm rambling, but something that I love that he said is like the Dios, diólogo, and detalles. So it should always be those three things: Dios, diálogo, detalles. But anyways, that's what this whole channel is about. Whether you're new here or not, that's my focus, is just not just to be like a guide for you guys, but like to talk about things that maybe are hard to talk about, or just like give you advice on things that I've already learned. And so some of the lessons that I've learned this year is detachment. That's my number one. Like, I feel like I've had to detach a lot from not just like people, but like a lot of bad habits, or like a lot like my job. I had to leave a lot of things, like my hometown. um I'm trying to think, like mostly material things, physical things, but honestly, like starting over is not easy, so it takes a lot of detachment. But I feel like once you do detach, it's like your focus is just like on you, and that's when you really start to like get better and grow more and like align more with things that are really for you, because you're actually being you yourself. You're actually actively looking for those things, and even if you're not actively looking, like your aura, your vibe is just calling them in, so it's already aligned with you. It was already aligned to your higher self either way, so the universe already knew that you were going to grow and detach from this thing, that you were going to do it. So you just have to start believing in yourself now. Start the process of that detachment, because once you do get past, you know, sometimes they say it takes like 30 days to get over a habit or a bad habit, or just to change one habit to another. So if you look at it that way, it's not that long of time. So if you keep consistent about it, I feel like, that's not one of my lessons, but I think for 2026, consistency is definitely going to be something I work with. But my second one is being patient, and it's something similar to being consistent. Like, if you're being patient, then that means that you're doing things the way that it should be, no matter how much time it takes. The reason I say being patient is because, it's not that people test my patience. Like, I learned that lesson a long time ago, and I let that go. Once somebody's testing my patience way too much, like, it's just not worth the cost. It's not worth the energy. Let me get closer to y'all. But yeah, I feel like once you learn to be patient about where you're going in life, such as when is the money gonna come in? If you're going through hardship right now, like I understand, like losing hope is so easy to do. And I've been through so many hardships as well, and moments that I've been through ups and downs. I've been through moments where I'm like, oh my God, I'm so blessed. And I have this, and that. And I'm just so grateful for everything. And then sometimes I start to forget about those things that I'm grateful for. And we can't forget about those little things that we're grateful for because that is what gets us by every single day. If you think about it, like every single day, a year is a long time, right? 365 days in a year. Every day, you can do something different with your life. You know, if you start now, in 6 months, in another 6 months, by the time next year comes around, you're already, you know, somewhat ahead if you start now. So you have to look at the bigger picture in order to keep that patience. You can't put a time limit on things. I know as bad as we want to, you know, control the timing of things, the more that you surrender, the better it comes, like the faster it comes. You know, the reason why I feel like testing my patience is was so high on like some of the lessons that I've learned last year is because I would be like, okay, yes, I have all these things, but I really, really like am going through something right now, and I don't know, like I can't see. Well, if I can't see myself getting out of that, then that's gonna make it harder for me to get over it. So I have to kind of like envision myself getting out of it. Meditation and things like that could come in benefit because you start to picture yourself living a better life. Then you kind of want to start getting motivated to do something about it. And you know, this is just the psychology behind things, but it's just so interesting to me how like we're tested so much, especially being an adult. Adulting is so, but anyways, I feel like you have to appreciate life and you have to appreciate the little things, and that's something that I never did before. Like that is one of the biggest lessons I learned last year. Is just to appreciate everything, the little things, because I used to be like stressing to people please, stressing my job, stressing every single payment. And it's like a lot of people would be like, you're young. Why are you stressing this? Why are you stressing that? You have to stress nothing. And like, still, I would be stressing it. And I know now I wish I would, like, I was stressing so much for no reason looking back at it. But I wish I actually did something back then about it because then I would save myself stress now. So, you have to appreciate things in the moment. You have to be present. That's something that I'm also learning, like when I get anxious, even though I see things working out for me, even though I believe that things are going to work out for me, in the moment now, it's so hard to control those feelings. I want to give up so bad. And once those thoughts start to creep in, I'm like, no, Veronica, no, friend, cannot go down that tunnel. You gotta go down this tunnel where the light is, okay? And you just have to fight that feeling because there are rewards in life, and you may feel overwhelmed. Like, obviously, life is hard, life is not meant to be easy. If that was true, then we will all be living in a utopia, and we all know that that is only in like stories and shows. So, not everybody can control hardships and struggles the same way. Not everybody has the same struggles and hardships, you know? So, if you're going through a struggle, if you're going through something hard right now, it's so easy to compare yourself to other people like, oh, they have so much money, and oh, like I need to make so much money as well, this and that. But, we're all uniquely each made by God. We're all uniquely made in our own way. And you don't need to have an identification, but you need to know yourself. You need to know what you want, what you're good at, what your heart, your intuition is telling you, and use that to find your purpose, to guide you in this life. You know, you can't just be expecting for people to always come save you. You should take as much support as you can, but not if it's going to interfere with your independence. Your goal should always be to be independent. We're not going to be in survival mode anymore. Leave survival mode in 2025, because this year you're taking control. Like I said, we're going to need them applications. We're going to need them miracles. We're going to ask for them miracles, and ask and you shall receive. Because that has been also a big thing so far. These days, starting this year, is ask and you shall be given. And I know there's like a Bible quote somewhere about that. If you believe in him, then you will be like given the kingdom or something like that. It's like Matthew. I'm gonna look it up. Okay, it's Matthew 6:33. But seek first his kingdom, and it will be given to you. So I know it's not like those exact words, but I'm so horrible at reciting, those verses or whatever. Um, until I repeat them for a little while. So yeah, my last few lessons would be just to practice a lot of self-care, self-love on yourself. The main reason of these lessons is to improve you, to make yourself better, to change and transform into this bundle of light, to change and transform into a more confident version of you, one that's gonna dominate this year. Like, another thing I was getting is like being a boss. The boss of what direction you are headed in your life. Wherever you want to go, you will get there. So yeah, this is your time, guys, and I hope that you recognize it.
Esta noche lo que hay,